Section 1.5, and in this section, we're going to be talking about linear pairs, which we've already discussed a little bit, and angle bisectors. So let's kind of review a little bit here with linear pairs. Let's take a look at this first example up here. It says here angle KPL and JPL are a linear pair. Angle KPL is 2x plus 24, and angle JPL is 4x plus 36, as you can see here in the picture. Okay, what are the measures of the two angles? All right, linear pair. A couple things to remember if you remember about a linear pair. Linear pairs, they should be two angles that add up to be a straight line. That's why they're called a linear pair. So they're going to add up to be 180 degrees. So when I go through and I set up this equation, this is going to be 2x plus 24 plus 4x plus 36. And that's going to equal 180. Essentially, I'm using the angle addition postulate truly here, but we're using this as the fact that a linear pair we know is going to be 180 degrees because this is a straight line. Okay, this in this case, KPJ is a straight line. So solving this equation, going to combine my like terms, 2x and 4x, that's 6x. 24 and 36 is going to give me 60. If I subtract 60 from each side, 6x is going to equal 120. And when I divide by 6, I should get x to equal 20. Now, directions say it wants you to find those two angles, KPL, JPL. Got to plug it back in here. Okay, so if I plug it back into this angle right here, 2 times 20 is 40 plus 24 gives me 64 degrees. And then if I plug it in over here, 4 times 20 is 80 plus 36 gives me 116 degrees. And now how can I check my answer? I can check those two had better add up to be 180, and they do. Okay, so you can figure out things with linear pairs. If you look over here to the right, this one here, in the figure, angle PQR is 4x plus 47. Okay, so PQR, angle, it wants you to find the measure of angle PQS. And in here, PQS is 7x minus 4. SQR is 36. This guy right here was the whole. So in this case, they're asking you to use the angle addition postulate. This is a part. That's a part. Part plus part should equal whole. So I should have 7x minus 4 plus 36 equals 4x plus 47. Okay, combine my like terms. So 7x plus 32 equals 4x plus 47. I'm going to subtract 4x from each side to get all the x's to one side. So 3x plus 32 equals 47. Subtract 32 from each side now because I want to get x by itself. That's 15, and if I divide by 3, x should be 5. Okay, now it wants to know what the measure of angle PQS is in the directions. So if I plug 5 into this guy right there, 7 times 5 is 35. 35 minus 4 is 31. So this angle right here is 31 degrees. Okay, how do I check that? Well, the whole better be 67 if I add those two together. And if I plug in 5 here, 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 47 is 67. Okay, so those are a couple of review questions. Part that's new here is the angle bisector part. So an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. Just like a segment bisector bisected a segment, made two equal parts. Angle bisector bisects an angle, okay? Its endpoint is at the angle's vertex. So, in this case, the endpoint of the ray in this picture here is A, because it's always at the angle's vertex. The ray is ray AY. Okay, so this ray AY is the angle bisector. It cut the angle into two equal parts. So in this case, this angle right here is the same as this angle. The right side and the left side are congruent, which is why you see the markings there. Okay. So in the diagram here, it says ray AY is the angle bisector of angle XAZ. So therefore, angle XAY is congruent to angle YAZ. Okay, using angle bisectors, we're going to use those in the next examples. All right, so in this example here, it says ray QR bisects angle PQS. Okay, solve for x and find the measure of angle PQS. It says here that PQR is 3x, RQS is 4x minus 9. I'm going to go ahead and put those in here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in. PQR is 3x, this guy is 3x, and RQS is 4x minus 9. Now, if QR bisects it, that means that these two angles are the same. So I can say that 3x equals 4x minus 9. Okay, and if I want to get x by itself to solve for x, I subtract 4x. Negative x is going to equal negative 9. If I divide by negative 1, then x is going to give me 9. But remember, they want you to find the measure of angle PQS. Well, if I plug 9 in to 3x, that's 3 times 9, that's 27 degrees. Okay, now, remember, PQR is the same measure as RQS. So if that one's 27 degrees, then this one's 27 degrees, and I can find that out by plugging that 9 in as well. And then that means that angle PQS is those two added together, which means that's 54 degrees. Okay, so an angle bisector. All right, let's go through one more example here. Okay, and the reason I go through this example is because there's some mix-ups here on this example, so you're going to have to change this in your notes. This should be right here. We're going to color this out. Let's make sure. We're going to color this guy out, and we're going to color this guy out. This should be angle MLC, and this should be angle BLC. Okay, so it says LC bisects angle MLB. So in other words, we know because it bisects it, those two angles are the same. Solve for x and find the measure of angle MLB. So it's very similar. Take the two parts, set them equal to each other. It's kind of like midpoint in a way when we did this earlier. Okay, subtract 6x. Subtract 6x, that's going to give me 2x plus 1 equals 7. Subtract 1, it's going to give me 2x equals 6. And if I divide by 2, x is going to be 3. Okay, if I plug 3 into one or the other, 8 times 3, I got 8 times 3 plus 1, that's 24 plus 1. That means this guy right here is 25 degrees, which also means this guy is 25 degrees. And if they're both 25, then the measure of angle MLB is going to be 50 degrees total. Okay. All right, so let's look at this bottom one, because this bottom one's a little bit different here. It says here solve for x and find the measure of angle HAT. Well, it says the measure of angle MAH is 3x plus 2. I'm going to go ahead and write that in here. 3x plus 2 goes here. The measure of angle HAT is 2x minus 12. Now, from the picture, do those things look like they're the same? Answer is no. You don't see anything that talks about bisects or anything, but you do notice that you have this little square in the corner, which means that this is a right angle. So when I set this up, I can say 3x plus 2 plus 2x minus 12 is going to equal 90 degrees. In this case, I'm using part plus part equals whole. That's a part, and then the whole is 90 degrees. Okay, and here I'm going to combine my like terms, 5x, and then I should have minus 10 equals 90. Okay, because I combine these guys, that's 5x Positive 2, negative 12 is negative 10. Add 10 to each side. So that's going to be 5x equals 100. And I divide by 5. And x is going to be 20. Now it wants to know what's the measure of angle HAT. Okay, so HAT, if I put 20 in, then 22 times 20 minus 12. 2 times 20 is 40. Minus 12 is going to give me 28 degrees. That is angle HAT. Okay. All right, so I went through lots of examples here for you. You should be able to finish the rest of your class kick assignment now.